Hello student, I am R.K. Jha from Mahatma Gandhi Shikshan Sansthan. Today I have brought a class for the subject mathematics of class 9th, and the chapter is Introduction to Euclid's Geometry. In this chapter, as the introduction to Euclid's Geometry, in this chapter, we have to know about the geometrical concept. To solve the geometrical problems, which terms are used, we have to know all the regarding points in this chapter. So, just I am going to start. First is axiom, and one word is postulate. So, what is axiom and what is postulate? The axiom is a statement which does not require a proof. Already it has been proved, it does not require any proof. For example, 2 and 2 makes 4. This is the example of axiom. And postulate, so how we can define the postulate? The postulate is defined as the basic structure from which lemma and theorems are derived. The two derived lemma, two derived theorem, postulates are required. Okay. So axiom and postulates, how we can define? The axiom is already a proven statement. It does not require any proof. While postulate is a basic structure from which theorems or lemma is derived. So in this chapter, Euclid has given 7 axioms. And one by one I am going to discuss. First axiom is, and one more information I want to give you. And these all the axioms and postulates according to the serial number we must have remembered, because generally in exam questions come, we write the third axioms of the Euclid's or write the third postulates. So when third postulate is, and suppose you are going to write the fourth serial number, then that will be the wrong. So we have to keep remember according to the point. And the first axiom is, things which are equal to the same things are equal to one another. Suppose, see, this is a man whose height is 2 feet. For example, this is another man whose height is also 5 feet. And this one is the third man whose height is 5 feet. So see, the height of these two persons are equal to each other. The height of these two persons are equal to each other. Then height of these two persons are equal to each other. It means the height of all these three persons are equal to each other. So it is said, things which are equal to the same things are equal to one another. Clear? Next, if equals are added to equal, just it has been proved in first axiom, things which are equal to same things are equal to one another. Suppose, if I increase 2 feet height in all the three persons, in first axiom already you have understood all the things are equal to each other. And if I add equal to all things which are equal, then whole will be equal to each other. Similarly, if equals are subtracted from equals, then remaining will be equal. This is the third axiom. And fourth is, things which coincide with one another are equal to one another. Suppose, if I take 2 markers, see, and when I coincide this, it means what? The length of these markers are equal. So this is the fourth axiom, and fourth axiom tells things which coincide with one another are equal to one another. Okay? And fifth is, the part is smaller than the whole, or the whole is greater than the part. For example, see, this one is the marker, and this cap is the part of this marker. So this part is, this cap or this part is smaller than whole marker. Okay? So it can be said the part is smaller than whole, or the whole is greater than the part. Next is, things which are double of the same things. When two things are equal and when they are multiplied by the same number, they will be equal. And seventh and last axiom is when two things are equal and when the both the equal things will be divided by the same number, then the quotient will be same. So in a statement it is said things which are halves of the same, half means by dividing two, the things which are halves of the same things are equal to one another. So these are the 7 axioms. Okay, understood? Now postulates, just I have defined the definition of the postulate. The postulate is the basic structure from which lemma and theorems are derived. And there are 5 postulates were given by Euclid. And 5 postulates, out of 5 postulates, first postulate is a straight line may be drawn from any one point to any other point. Suppose C, P and Q I have taken as one point, and C, from one point so many lines, straight lines can be drawn. Next, see, this is the terminated lines, and all the terminated lines can be produced indefinitely in either side. And third is a circle can be drawn with any center and with any radius. This is the third postulate. Fourth is all the right angles are equal to each other. And fifth postulate is for every line L and for every point P not lying on the line L, there exists a unique line M passing through P and parallel to L. So there are the 5 postulates, and you also keep remember according to the serial number 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And after that, in this chapter, we have to discuss so many terms related to geometry. First is point. Just see, this is the point, and how we can define the point? The point is the mark, point is the location, point is the position without any dimension. Means it has no any length, breadth or height. Next is line. If a straight portion is drawn and suppose it is produced indefinitely in either direction, it means it has no any definite length. So line can be defined as any straight portion which can be produced indefinitely from both sides. It means it has no any definite length and it has no any end point. And suppose if it is produced from only one side, once again it has no any definite length, but it has one end point, that will be ray. And if a line, a straight portion has two end points, it means it cannot be produced, means it has definite length, then that will be the line segment. So this is the line segment, this is the ray, and this is the line, and this is the point. Okay? Next, suppose if I put 1, 2, 3, and once again I have put 1, 2 and 3, and in this, if all the points are joined, then we get a straight line. And when two or more than 2 points are given in a plane, and when all the points are joined, and if we get a straight line, then the points will be collinear. Okay? And when the points are joined, and suppose we get more than one line segment, then the points will be non-collinear. So these points A, suppose 1, 2, 3 are the non-collinear points, and this is the collinear points. Why this one is the collinear? Because here we have got one straight line and there more than one straight line. Okay? Next is intersecting line. Suppose if a straight line is drawn, one more straight line is drawn, then they meet at one point, then the lines will be intersecting lines, and this point where they meet, that will be the point of intersection. And suppose if there is a single point in a plane, and through passing one point, if I draw more than 2 lines, exactly 2 lines are drawn, then the lines will be intersecting lines. But when through the same point, if 3 or more than 3 lines are drawn, then the lines will be concurrent lines and the point will be concurrency. Okay? Next is parallel lines. If 2 lines are produced indefinitely in either side, and if they have no any common point, if they do not meet on either side producing, it means the net distance between them is always constant, then the lines will be parallel. And if they will meet, then the lines will be non-parallel. Next is theorem. Axiom, just you have understood, axiom is the statement which does not require proof. Already it has been proved. But theorem is also the statement which requires a proof. Means any statement which can be proved, that will be theorem, and any statement which cannot be proved, which does not require any proof, that will be axioms. And postulates is the basic structure from which lemma and theorems are derived. And after knowing these axioms, these postulates, we have to know about the different terms just I have discussed in this chapter. And now I am going in exercise of NCERT 5.1 and 5.2. This is a very small chapter, and on this term some few questions are given, and question number 1, 2 and 3 are based on the axioms and postulates and definitions. Okay, so some new question is question number 4 and 5 and 6. So I am going to discuss to see. Question number 4 is, if a point C lies between 2 points A and B, suppose the 2 points, this is the question number 4 of exercise 5.1. If 2 points A and B are given, A and B, and if a point C lies between them such that this AC and BC both are equal, then prove that AC is equal to half AB. So when we have to draw this, the question first you have to write the given, to first write given AC is equal to BC. It is given, and to prove that AC is equal to half AB. So now proof can be given. AB is equal to what? AC plus BC. Because when AC and BC will be added, then we will get AB. So this AB can be written AC plus BC. Now this can be further written AB is equal to AC plus BC. Also it is given BC is equal to AC. So in place of BC, it can be written AC, and here you may write since AC is equal to BC. Okay. So now this AB is equal to AC plus AC will be 2AC, that is 2AC. So if AB is equal to 2AC, then AC is equal to AB by 2, that is 1 by 2 AB. This way we can say this AC is equal to half AB, and this way we can prove. Okay, understood? Now question number 5. And question number 5 is given in question number 4. Actually, question number 5 once again is based on the question number 4. And question 5 is, in question 4, point C is called the midpoint. Means this C divide the line segment AB into two equal parts. And the point that divides any line segment into two equal parts, that point will be midpoint. And so, once again, question is to prove that every line segment has unique midpoint. So see question number 5. Question 5. To every line segment has unique middle point, midpoint. You see, let once again AB is the line segment and C is the midpoint of line segment AB. And question is, all the line segment there must be unique one midpoint. If possible, let D is also the midpoint. And in question number 4, just you have seen, if C is the midpoint of AC, then AC is equal to half AB. Similarly, BC will be half AB. It means AC and BC both are equal. And question is, every line segment has unique midpoint. This is the true statement, And just I have told you any true statement which can be proved, that will be the theorem. So every line segment has unique midpoint. Just I am going to prove. So let, if possible, we have to say let D is the midpoint of AB. If D is the midpoint of AB, then AD must be equal to half AB. But in your question, in question number 4, AC is equal to half AB. And in axioms, first axiom, just you have seen, if two things are equal, then all are equal to each other. If AD is equal to half AB, AC is equal to half AB, it means from equation 1 and 2 it can be said AD is equal to AC. But from figure, see, AC is the part of AD, and the part is always smaller than whole. It never be equal to each other. So, if AC is the part of AD, then how it could be equal to each other? So here we have to say it is not possible. Why? Because AC is the part of AD and part is smaller than whole. So it is not possible. Hence we arrive at contradict. Our supposition goes wrong. So D is not midpoint of AB. What was given? That C is the midpoint of AB, and thus it can be said every line segment has unique midpoint or unique middle point. Okay, understood? So by contradiction method this can be proved. And last question, question number 6 is given. See, in figure A, D, B, and this is C, and in this given figure, given AC is equal to BD, AC is equal to BD, and to prove that we have to show that, to prove that AB is equal to CD. The proof, in proof we may write, since AC is equal to BD, and just it has been discussed, when equals are subtracted from equals, then remaining will be equal. It is given AC is equal to BD. This BC is the common part. So when BC taken as common and subtracting from either side, so now we have to write, take BC as common and subtract from either side. And after subtracting from either side, we may write AC minus BC must be equal to BD minus BC. Because according to Euclid's axiom, we know when equal are subtracted from equal, then the remaining will be equal. So AC minus BC will be what? AB. So this is equal to AB, and BD minus BC is equal to CD. So this way we can say AB is equal to CD. This is the question number 6. Now question number 7 is given. Why is axiom 5 in the list of Euclid's axiom considered a universal truth? See, the part is smaller than the whole. Because why it is universal truth? It is universal truth because when a part is kept on whole, it does not coincide. And when two things coincide, then they are equal. But when a part is kept on whole, then they will not coincide. It is very clear. So from this observation, we can say the part is smaller than whole, or whole is greater than part. Okay, clear? So that is the answer of this question number 7. And in exercise 5.2, there are two questions. How do you rewrite Euclid's fifth postulation? So just what I have shown in fifth, this is the fifth postulation. And question number 2 is, does Euclid's fifth postulate imply the existence of parallel lines? Yes, you have to say yes, because according to definition of parallel line, two lines are said to be parallel if they do not meet on either side producing. And according to Euclid's fifth postulation, when if a line is drawn and if a point outside from the given line is taken, and from the given point if a straight line is drawn, then both the lines will be parallel because they do not meet on either side producing. So this way we can say the Euclid's fifth postulation also implies find the existence of the parallel lines, and this way it can be justified. And by doing this, we, by remembering the axioms and postulates, all the questions can be solved. And in this chapter, because in class 9th, the major portion is given in geometry. So to have better understanding these topics, axioms, postulates, and the definition and the concept of the given points must be clear. And without having this concept, no problems will be solved in the next chapter. So I request you to keep the remember axioms and postulates so that it will help you to solve the problem. Thank you.